Good afternoon and welcome to Channel 600,000 MSJC News. I'm your host Michael and this is my co-host Mike. I'm Mike. Our top story today, Russian missiles found in Cuba. But first, look how cute this little girl is. Keep rolling. So cute. Alright, I'm done. Keep it rolling, keep it rolling. Yes, that is a very cute puppy, Michael. Now we go to our field reporter, who has an eyewitness who claims that he has video footage of the missiles being taken off the ships. So I understand you witnessed some of these missiles being offloaded off the ships. Is that true?
Well, yes it is. I had my boat docked over at a port over in Cuba, and when I saw these massive missiles being unloaded off some Russian ships. Huge missiles.
What did you do?
Well, I took a video of it, and I hightailed my butt over back to the United States, because there ain't no way in heck I'm going to be staying over there.
The guards didn't notice you?
Well, I'm American. Americans fight. Americans win.
Here's the footage from our witness who claims that he took of the Soviet missiles being offloaded off the ships.
I'm a missile.
I'm a missile too.
And now to our experts. Who was in this, who started it, and why?
The only two nations with atomic weapons were the Soviet Union and the United States. The United States and the resentment of communism caused this crisis. Those missiles wouldn't have been in Cuba if it hadn't been for the United States moving missiles into Turkey. The Soviet Union sees this as a threat which will be met with similar fashion. The United States blockaded Cuba because we gave them atomic weapons.
Okay. Now please answer this question.
Well, the United States moves missiles into Turkey because missiles being in Turkey stops your borders from expanding. We can't have communism in Europe. I'm sorry, but communism, we just don't like it. It's outdated.
Yes.
The only reason we really even knew about the nuclear missiles in Cuba was because of the U-2 spy plane that flew over. Other than that, you guys were moving them secretly. Act of war.
Active.
You want? We go!
Okay, I'll send you back to Russia on your missile.
That's why politicians should not negotiate, because nothing ever gets done. This year in 1962, on October 22nd, President Kennedy let the American people know about the crisis. This crisis started with the United States moving missiles into Turkey. The Soviet Union moved missiles into Cuba. After some meetings, President Kennedy blockaded Cuba. And neither side wanting nuclear war negotiated the removal and destruction of the weapons in Cuba and Turkey. Eventually, President Kennedy and Nikita Khrushchev came to an agreement that the weapons in Cuba and Turkey would be destroyed, and the United States would not invade Cuba because of their communist government. Now, just so you realize the time gap between when the president found out and when the American people found out, a CIA operative in the Cuban government overheard something about nuclear weapons from one of Fidel Castro's pilots on September 27th, the same year. It got brought to the American people's attention on October 22nd the same year. Almost a month. Big time gap.
And this concludes this segment of Channel 600,000 MSGC News. Check back in next week for the effect of nuclear winters and if you are at risk of becoming a zombie.
blockade, then we will continue the surveillance. I would anticipate 2 or 3 things. First, that Khrushchev will make a statement that any attack upon Cuba will be the same as he made at the time of the Suez business, will be regarded as an attack upon the Soviet Union, be responded to by all the weapons at their command. Number one. Number two is we have to assume that as this surveillance continues with the U-2s, that these SAM sites may shoot one down. At that point, then we were just discussing what action we will take in attacking the SAM site. So I would assume that this will only be the first of an increasing number of steps. We're not going to be in any position to carry out an invasion for some days because we have to move those troops around from San Diego, but we're going to do all those things, and we'll just stay in touch with you this week, which, as I say, we anticipate that it will be getting more intense.
As I understand it, John talked to me about 3 possibilities.
Right.
The first one, I told him, the only real thing I said was I thought that was completely wrong. And apparently everybody else had agreed on that.
That's right, and for the reasons, one is we didn't think we'd get them all, as well as we'd have all the disadvantages without finishing the job.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And the second one, the difficulty was, and of course here between second and third, I thought there were a number of reasons on both sides, and of course I couldn't tell about the understandings that the government had with the Latin American companies, with NATO, and so on and so on.
Right.
But so there, my thought was, well, no matter what you have to do, I will certainly stand hit and will be doing my best.
Right.
Support it. Now, the one thing I didn't quite understand, that you'd suspect this third program would require a number of increasingly serious steps.
Well, what we anticipate is first his statement of, the sort of usual one. But then, of course, the surveillance will continue. Now, we have to assume that they perhaps will shoot down one of these U-2s. Then in that case, and therefore make our surveillance impossible. In that case, of course, we will then have to judge what action to take. But I think that we probably, as I don't expect they're going to discontinue work on these things, I don't expect they're going to withdraw them. And I would think that we probably have that danger in any case.
I should think, Mr. President, that what probably will be bothering you the most after this first statement will be the some outcries from all around the world, probably including Latin America and so on and so on. There will be a lot of talk about the United Nations and so on.
Right.
The only thing that I said to John is that here's something that even if you don't get as many people in South America, many governments go along, that once you've taken the first step in force, then you will have to, if necessary, to make all these things unilateral decisions. And
right. That's right.
And that's the big thing. And when if you see becomes time to do something, why you yourself, of course, will have to make a decision.
Right. Well, 2/3. If we get the 2/3, we'll operate under the Rio Treaty. If we don't get the 2/3, then we'll do it under our own active self-defense. Then
your speech will be
7 o'clock. Then we're going to go to the UN with and our position will be the withdrawal of these up there to assist Adlai, so that we get somebody who's had some experience.
Jack's a very good man.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you for telling me, and I will. Personally, I think you're really making the only move you can.
Yeah. It's tough to. As I say, we will. I don't know. We may get into the invasion business before many days are out.
Yeah.
But
of course, from the military standpoint, that's a clean-cut thing to do now.
That's right.
Because you've made up your mind. You've got to get rid of this thing.
Right.
Well, the only real way to get rid of it, of course, is the other thing. But if having to be concerned with world opinion
and Berlin.
Others, why you got to do a little slower.
Well, Berlin is the. I suppose that it may be what they're going to try to trade off.
They might, but I personally, I just don't quite go along, with that thinking, Mr. President. My idea is this: the damn Soviets will do whatever they want, what they figure is good for them.
Yeah.
And I don't believe they relate one situation with another. That's
right.
what they find out they can do here and there and the other place.
Yeah.
And we're already standing at the unit with NATO that if they go into Berlin, that's all of it.
Right.
That means they've got to look out that they don't get a terrific blow themselves.
Right.
And I don't, it might be, I could be all wrong, but my own conviction is that you will not find a great deal of relationship between the two.
Let me ask.
They'll try to make it that way.
General, what about if the Soviet Union, Khrushchev announces tomorrow, which I think he will, that if we attack Cuba, that it's going to be nuclear war? And what's your judgment as to the chances they'll fire these things off if we invade Cuba?
Oh, I don't believe it is.
You don't think they will? In other words, you would take that risk if the situation seemed bizarre.
As a matter of fact, what can you do? If this thing is such a serious thing here on our flank, that we're going to be uneasy, and we know what's happening now. All right, you've got to use something.
Right.
Something may make these people shoot them off. I just don't believe this will.
Yeah, all right.
In any event, of course, I'll say this. I'd want to keep my own people very alert.
Yeah. No, hang on tight.
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, General.
All right,
All right. All right.
Are you through? Are you through? Waiting. There.
Hello?
One moment.
Yes. Hello?
Just. Hello? Did he? Yes, I got it. Thanks a lot. Okay, fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
He will address the nation at 7 p.m. this evening.
He will, yeah.
On steps being taken.
No, I can do it. Oh, right. On steps being taken, yeah.
To provide an effective quarantine.
Yeah.
Against this threat to the hemisphere.
Right. Okay, I see your point.
Yeah. Now, we're trying also to confirm the source and reliability of that rumor because...
We are, too.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Right.
Fine.